Imagine a justice system where healing takes precedence over punishment, where victims are given a voice, offenders are held accountable beyond prison walls, and entire communities are brought back together. This isn't a utopian dream, it's restorative justice, but can it really transform societies plagued with crime, inequality, and distrust? Today, on Mind Matters, we'll unpack the profound impact restorative justice is having on individuals, communities, and the very fabric of our society. Welcome back to Mind Matters, where we dive deep into psychology, philosophy, and social systems that shape our lives. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss thought-provoking explorations like this one. In today's video, we're going to journey through the world of restorative justice, what it is, how it works, and most importantly, how it impacts society as a whole. Unlike the traditional justice system, which focuses primarily on punishing offenders, restorative justice emphasizes repairing harm. It brings together three key groups: the victim, the offender, and the community. This often involves mediated conversations, community service, or restitution agreements. The goal: to acknowledge harm, foster accountability, and rebuild trust. At its core, restorative justice asks one powerful question: how can we heal, rather than simply punish? Restorative practices aren't new. They draw inspiration from Indigenous traditions in New Zealand, Canada, and Africa, where community-centered conflict resolution was the norm for centuries. For example, the MRE people in New Zealand practiced NOR conferencing family-centered dialogues to resolve disputes. Similarly, many African communities used truth circles to restore balance. Modern societies are now rediscovering these ancient approaches, adapting them into structured programs within schools, prisons, and even national policies. Victims of crime often feel powerless in traditional justice systems. They're sidelined, while lawyers and judges argue over legal technicalities. Restorative justice flips this dynamic. Victims are given a voice. They can explain how the crime affected them emotionally, financially, and socially. Research shows that many victims feel more satisfied after restorative justice meetings than after court trials. Why? Because they experience validation, closure, and sometimes even forgiveness. Imagine a burglary victim sitting face-to-face with the offender. Instead of endless court dates, the victim shares their pain directly, and the offender acknowledges the harm. That moment of honesty can restore a sense of dignity that punishment alone rarely delivers. Now let's talk about offenders. Critics often ask, doesn't restorative justice let them off easy? Surprisingly, the opposite is often true. Facing your victim directly requires courage. It forces offenders to confront the real human consequences of their actions. Studies show that offenders who go through restorative justice are less likely to reoffend compared to those who only serve jail time. Why? Because shame turns into accountability, and accountability often sparks change. Instead of becoming hardened in prison, offenders can rebuild their identity through community service, education, or direct restitution. Restorative justice isn't just about victims and offenders, it's about the communities torn apart by crime. Communities thrive on trust. But crime, coupled with harsh punitive systems, can erode that trust. Restorative justice brings communities back into the healing process. For instance, neighborhood programs allow local members to sit in circles, talk about safety, and rebuild relationships. Schools using restorative practices report fewer suspensions, less bullying, and a stronger sense of belonging. When communities participate in justice, they shift from being passive bystanders to active agents of change. Zooming out, what happens when restorative justice is applied at a societal level? First, societies see lower recidivism rates. By addressing root causes of behavior, we reduce the cycle of crime and incarceration. Second, cost savings. Fewer prison sentences and shorter court processes mean millions saved for taxpayers. Third, healing divisions. In post-conflict societies, restorative justice has been used for reconciliation. South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission is a powerful example, giving both victims and perpetrators a chance to be heard after apartheid. And finally, a cultural shift. Societies begin to value empathy, responsibility, and connection over vengeance. It's not just a justice model, it's a societal transformation. Of course, restorative justice isn't without critics. Some argue it's too lenient for severe crimes. Others worry about re-traumatizing victims by forcing contact with offenders. And there's the practical challenge. Restorative programs require trained mediators, community involvement, and supportive policies. Yet, despite these concerns, evidence suggests restorative justice works especially when it's carefully applied and voluntary. From a psychological perspective, restorative justice taps into something deeply human, the need for connection and meaning. For victims, it validates their pain. For offenders, it provides a path to redemption. For communities, it restores trust. Punishment alone rarely achieves these outcomes, but restorative practices align with what psychologists know about healing trauma, reducing shame, and fostering empathy. So, what does this all mean for us as a society? Restorative justice challenges us to rethink justice itself, not as a system of revenge, but as a process of healing. It invites us to imagine communities where harm is addressed through dialogue, accountability, and restoration. It doesn't promise perfection, but it does offer a powerful vision of what justice could look like if we dared to prioritize humanity over punishment. As we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe restorative justice can work on a large scale, or should it remain a small-scale alternative to traditional systems? Share your views in the comments side. Love to start a dialogue with you. Thank you for watching Mind Matters. If this video gave you something to think about, hit the like button and share it with someone who cares about justice reform. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our minds and our world. Until next time, remember, true justice isn't just about punishment, it's about restoration.